You water your plant, and a week later, the leaves are yellow and drooping. It looks thirsty, so naturally you water it again. Water rising through the soil fills every air pocket, entirely blocking oxygen from the root system. Roots must breathe. Submerged too long, they suffocate and rot away. Without healthy roots, the plant loses its ability to absorb moisture. If you've reached this point, your plant is drowning. You can pull it back, using practical methods experienced growers rely on to diagnose the damage, perform root surgery, and build a recovery environment. To execute this intervention, you need 3 specific items: sterilized pruning snips, fresh, well-draining soil mixed with white perlite, and a brand new nursery pot with functional drainage holes at the bottom. The first rule of this rescue operation is strict. You have to entirely ignore the yellow leaves above the surface and focus solely on the invisible root system below. Step 1 is immediate. Stop watering the plant. If the soil is already saturated, adding more liquid will only accelerate the decay. If the damage is mild, you can often save the plant without removing it from its pot. Gently loosen the top layer of the soil to help trapped moisture evaporate, and move the plant to a brighter location to encourage airflow. If you detect a musty odor, if leaves fall at a touch, or the entire structure is collapsing, you have a severe case of root rot. At this stage, passive drying will not work. Most plant owners hesitate to dig up a weak, struggling houseplant. It feels risky to disturb a plant that is already in decline. Leaving a compromised plant in stagnant, wet dirt guarantees it will not survive. Extracting it from the pot is the only logical way to assess the damage and stop the decline. Start by carefully pulling the plant out of its container. Use your fingers to gently massage the root ball, breaking away wet, clumped soil without tearing the healthy tissue. Now evaluate what is left. On the left side of this comparison, you see healthy, functional roots. They are firm, pale white, or tan. On the right side, you see diseased roots. They are dark black, slimy, and fall apart when you touch them. Take your sterilized scissors and cut away every single piece of dark, mushy material. You want to leave only the firm, pale sections intact. You have to be thorough. If you leave even a small trace of rot behind, the remaining bacteria will quickly multiply and spread the infection to the surviving healthy tissue. Because that bacteria is highly active, you must also throw all of the original saturated soil directly into the trash. It is completely compromised and cannot be reused. Root pruning acts as a surgical amputation, halting a fatal infection before it consumes the entire plant. Now we rebuild the environment. You need fresh, sterile potting soil thoroughly mixed with a structural additive like orchid bark or perlite. Perlite is a lightweight, volcanic glass that looks like small white foam balls, used to improve soil aeration. In this new soil mixture, structural additives prevent dirt from compacting, creating permanent oxygen channels around the recovering roots. Inside a pot with drainage holes, gravity will rapidly pull excess moisture away from the root zone and out the bottom. Now wait, absolutely do not water the plant immediately after you finish repotting it. Withholding moisture right now forces the freshly cut ends of the roots to callus over. A callus is a tough, protective layer of dried plant tissue that acts like a scab, sealing the wound and preventing immediate reinfection. Combining aerated soil, drainage, and a dry recovery period effectively engineers a respiratory system for the plant. For the first few weeks, your plant may actually look worse. It might continue to drop leaves or stop growing altogether as it processes the shock of the surgery. But beneath the surface, the plant is surviving. It diverts its available energy away from the leaves, aggressively pushing an entirely new root network through the dry soil. To keep the plant alive long-term, you have to change how you approach hydration. Watering is a physiological response to the plant's environment, not a strict calendar schedule. Before you reach for the watering can, insert your finger 2 inches deep into the topsoil. You need to physically verify that there is no subsurface moisture present. Next, lift the pot to gauge its weight. A fully saturated pot feels dense and heavy, while a dry pot feels noticeably light and hollow. You only apply water when both of these physical indicators confirm the soil is completely dry. The number of days that have passed since the last watering does not matter. Once you master this diagnostic process, you will naturally start to notice other hidden factors affecting your houseplants. In our next video, we break down the most common invisible care mistakes that owners unknowingly commit. True botanical confidence happens when you stop reacting to the superficial drooping of a leaf and start mastering the invisible mechanics of the soil.